Artie, Sarah Firth right there. Let's get some more now on what mark could be left in history by Boris Berezovsky. I'm joined right here by Peter Lavelle, the host of the often inflammatory programme Crosstalk. Great to have you on, Peter.
Great to be here.
Let's talk about Boris Berezovsky here, a man who, well, absolutely made a fortune, as they say, during the 90s, a turbulent time in Russia.
He stole it. Let's be clear here.
Well, he stole it?
He didn't make
Was
money.
he a businessman or a manipulator?
A manipulator.
A manipulator.
Okay, he used the system. What was happening in Russia? The political system had collapsed. The economy had collapsed. Belief in authority had collapsed. Everything was in collapse. So he picked up pieces all over the place.
So he was opportunistic in that sense.
Yes, he didn't generate wealth. He stole wealth. Let's be clear about that.
But then can you tie that in then, because you and I were talking off-air about the rule of 7 bankers that came into power.
This is where the term oligarchs came, and I think it was Berezovsky that invented it. Essentially, by the 1996, a small number of people had accumulated enormous wealth, but they wanted more. And they said to Yeltsin, we'll get you reelected, but you have to give us shares in state institutions, Aeroflot, Zbigniew, et cetera, et cetera. And he did it. He gave the economy away. So he ruled over very little, had no power, and Berezovsky was at the top of the hill. So this is how he generated his wealth, okay? He didn't earn it.
But now, you talk about a wealthy man. You met him, didn't you?
Yes, yes, yes.
And?
Oh, arrogant. Well, he was full of himself, okay? A lot of security around him, an enormous amount of security. He was paranoid for good reason. There were attempts on his life. And he left because he was worried for his life, okay? And he took his money with him, or at least a good part of it.
This whole self-imposed exile in London.
It was an escape.
It was an escape. He left. To protect himself.
He would have been charged with all kinds of criminal offenses.
Self-preservation, I better get out of here.
And then revenge, okay? Because he was supposed to stay on top, okay? He quote-unquote, invented Putin. That's nonsense, okay? He didn't do that. He took credit for something he didn't do, okay? He wanted revenge. He wanted to come back.
Okay, so self-imposed exile, he wanted revenge, though, because he certainly stayed a player in Russian politics all the way from London.
He tried to. Always tried to create nonsense and chaos around him, but he didn't really succeed in anything, really.
What about one of the high-profile cases we've had over the last couple of years? Litvinenko, the polonium poison.
He worked for Berezovsky.
So Litvinenko worked for Berezovsky. In what capacity?
To look for dirt.
To look for dirt
on politicians, on Putin.
Politicians.
Yes, of course. That was his job.
So how did Litvinenko die, do you think?
He accidentally killed himself or committed suicide.
Really? Possible?
He wasn't a smart guy, Rory. He was a bodyguard. Okay?
All right, let's bring it up to the more recent time now. Berezovsky meeting Abramovich in court. We're talking about billions, a massive legal dispute.
It was a really huge gamble on the part of Berezovsky.
Why was it a gamble?
He didn't have one shred of evidence, not one sheet of paper to prove his point.
He came to court with no paperwork?
Absolutely.
Why?
Gamble.
So he was taking one last chance.
He knew the end was coming. He knew the end was coming. He was running out of money.
You think he was running out of money?
He was broke.
Because a lot of people question how much he was really worth. Was he worth these
$3.1 billion? I doubt it ever.
You doubt it. So do you think it was the court battles with Abramovich and maybe others that basically brought him to
step by step by step.
Broke him down.
He died alone. Interesting. Alone. No friends.
His wife had left him.
No respect.
He had lost his money. He had lost the respect. He wasn't able to come home because we heard recently that he had been trying to come back to Moscow, even penning a letter.
Delusional.
Do you think he wanted to come back or not?
I think he wanted to come back and ask for forgiveness. No. It was never going to happen.
Well, Boris Berezovsky, some people saying, deteriorating health, depression, possible suicide, all of his big money. He was broke, as you say. Well, it's certainly not the end of what we're hearing here. Boris Berezovsky, now dead, will be hearing, I'm sure, a lot of conspiracy theorists will be becoming wild with this. Peter Lavelle, the host of Crosstalk, a great pleasure to have you on today. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.